Discomfort. Sometimes that's exactly what you need in your life right now. And it's important to recognize when it's a healthy discomfort. Sometimes you have to, in those moments, or even after, right? Sometimes in the moment, can't do it, right? But taking the time to reflect, what about that situation made you uncomfortable or even made you feel some sort of emotion, anger, frustration, annoyance, and analyze what about it made you feel that way. And if anyone else, this is one option, if anyone else shows up the same way but you don't feel that discomfort, that's something you have to check within yourself, because that might be an opportunity to grow. Is there bias, right, of any form that you may have internally? Secondly, is it jealousy, envy, something that you want to have within yourself, but that person is showing up in that way? And maybe you didn't have that expectation that someone who looks like that or sounds like that or is from here or there or wherever could do such a thing. That's an internal situation that you can use specifically to recognize an opportunity for your self-growth and for you to be able to get to wherever you want to get in life. I think it's the most amazing tool to have that level of self-awareness, to turn that, what does she think she's doing? into, why am I feeling like that? And what is she actually doing? And how much of that am I not showing up for myself in that way? So sometimes we can observe other people and be frustrated about whatever. Things aren't showing up in our lives as it is for them. But that's the perfect opportunity to feel grateful for that insight of that internal battle that you have going on, so you have a chance to fix it. Because life, sometimes we're moving through life with envy and jealousy or frustration, fears, but there's no mirror. And that level of feeling is sort of a mirror that you can use to address those issues. So when you notice there's an issue, you talk to your therapist. That's a great one. If you've never worked with a therapist, I would highly recommend talk to your therapist and work through that. But then there's also books on these things. There's also, some people have great YouTube channels. A lot of therapists are popping up on YouTube too. I love it. Can they diagnose you or anything like that? No. But they can give you tips. If you are very clear that this is the issue, then those tips can be very helpful to help you put that into practice. And if you can't resolve it and find a solution within you by doing that research, seeking help is helpful. Even talking to the person that you may have like these feelings about and saying like, hey, I admire that XYZ that you do. How do you build that in yourself? You'd be surprised of the effort that sometimes some people put into getting over that hump to be able to do such a thing. And, learning other people's stories is an interesting way to also grow as a person and to realize, oh, wait, I can do that. Building that level of evidence around the fact that you too can do it and here's a path is so helpful. It's so helpful. So sometimes we can get out of our heads, or get out of our way, quite frankly. Get out of our heads and actually talk to people and learn from them. Maybe what you hear ain't useful for you. That's fine. But you had a chance to learn about somebody else. And people, I think it's an interesting thing. People like to share a bit about themselves. Maybe not the deep stuff, but if it can help someone else, a lot of people are willing to take that time to share information on how they got to someplace. Sometimes it's just a little nugget that you could take that'll move you across the line to help you reach that goal. But consider that discomfort is something you should really take time to assess within yourself versus talking about other people or placing the blame and this person made me feel like this. There's something else going on internally. If someone else makes you feel like XYZ. Granted, I know there's some exceptions to the rule and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like in most cases, it's our own internal battle. If someone else is acting a certain way out there in the world, you should have enough of a line and internal self-worth and confidence and really know yourself to not let that impact you as much. Like the emotion, if you're emotionally charged because of what someone else does, that's likely not a dumb thing. It's likely a you thing that you need to battle with, because you are able to remove yourself from certain situations. You are able to address the issue with respect. You don't have to show up like them if they're showing up disrespectful, but you can have a conversation with them, and oftentimes you'd actually be surprised about how they respond. They might not even know it's being taken that way, because sometimes some things are just cultural differences, right? Cultural, socioeconomic, all sorts of different things, right? You can even be in the same country, United States, right? North versus South, East versus West, whatever. Central, right? The Rust Belt, different levels of culture within the same culture. So I think it's so important for us to build a certain level of tolerance and a little patience for that discomfort of someone being different, and be curious, be more curious. Now, if they repeatedly show up with a certain pattern and someone actually has tried to address it and had a respectful conversation around it, and they're just like, they don't really care, that's a different thing. But honestly, we're all just moving through life for the most part, just trying to either baseline survive, enjoy life, and 9 times out of 10 people want other people to have great experiences as well. But it really leans into that when we tackle our own internal shenanigans. So discomfort, check within yourself first, unless you're in a harmful situation, and you're probably not. In most cases, it's your own internal battle for you to look in the mirror and do the work, and you can do it.